Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Chuck the Frontend interviews. So we have another guest. We have Harish. Harish has been initially working as a backend developer, then finally basically moved to the front end because he loved front end development and he's doing a great work at Public Sapient right now. So with that, before we get started with the interesting JavaScript problem going ahead, I want you to like and subscribe if you haven't done, and keep on basically solving these problems along with me. Pause the video, take an attempt, try to answer the question considering I'm sitting in front of you and I'm taking your interview. So with that, without wasting the time, let me introduce Harish. Hey Harish, how are you doing, man?
Hey, I'm doing great, Chirag. How about you?
Likewise, I'm doing awesome. And why don't you introduce yourself before we bombard with a problem statement?
Yeah, sure. So yeah, I have around basically 5.5 years of experience in the industry, and I kind of started. Initial days of my career, in like 6 months, I was in PHP and Java. Kind of started with Java, but then due to the necessity of the project, we kind of went into form manipulations initially, and then due to my project stuff, my senior personally gave me a note to start with React since it was kind of booming everywhere. So before I started React, I thought to go with JavaScript first. Then that's the time I started to love JavaScript. It was like I spent around 2 months nearly to understand what is that, because the this and everything was completely different. And then slowly I started to understand React, and even tried my projects and even npm packages and stuff. Yeah, it was cool journey so far, and yeah, I'm also very excited for the path that is waiting for me. Yeah, that
Awesome.
is the thing.
Great. So are you excited about the interview first of all?
Yeah, I'm very much excited.
Let's share your screen. I have a problem statement for you. Awesome. So generally, the problem with bigger application is there are multiple component making the call, and there are chances where one component is making a user call, second component is also making a user call, and we are having a redundant calls basically in our application because these are made from different places. So you don't have a control on what we are going to do. Your question is you have to implement logic where you are going to merge the identical API calls. So in short, you have to basically write a function which is going to something. Okay, let me help you out. Which is going to something look like this, and which is going to help on multiple areas. Now, let me give you a exact problem statement in detail so that you understand the use cases much better. So let me put it over here.
तो मैं आपसे कुछ मांग सकता हूँ सचमुच में। अब मैं मांगूंगा और आप मानेंगे नहीं तो मानेंगे, लेकिन अगर करेंगे नहीं तो पक्का करेंगे।
Okay, this is how it is going to look like. You can expand the left bar probably so that you can read it well. Expand further, expand further, expand further. So
Okay.
yeah, read it well. So basically consider in this particular case, I'm going to tweak something. So you have a function which is called, say, suppose fetch. This is a fetch API. Generally we have it. Consider this is a browser API, or it can be damn anything basically in this particular case, right? So what we are going to do, you have a fetch, you have to create a utility on top of this. So in this case, if you see, you make a fetch call, you make a fetch call where what you are giving, you are giving a route, and you are giving a keywords.
Mm.
Consider the route and the keyword that you are providing is same.
Okay.
Ideally, you should not make another API call. You should be
Okay.
able to avoid that making that API call by just having a wrapper on top of it. And I want that wrapper to be created. Example, this create get API with merging is a wrapper which you are going to create, which will help you to avoid those duplicate calls in short. So this is consider your
Okay.
fetch, or probably you wanted to make it get API. I just showed you that get API is nothing as just a wrapper which provides you a fetch call. That's all, right? So ultimately, this is what you need to make, which is create get API with merging, which takes that particular wrapper, which is get API, and helps you to dedupe your API call. So if you see some examples, you have a slash list where you are passing learn with Chirag. You are resolving the first call that will make a API call. The second, again, you are making slash list with the keyword learn with Chirag. The second call is identical to the first. So get API is not called altogether, if you notice,
Okay. Okay.
right?
Got it.
And the third call basically you are making to the same endpoint, but the keywords are different. Then it is going to make a get API call. The fourth, if you see, in this particular case, you are making after 1 second. So fourth is identical to the first one, but the time duration that you have given, which is 1 second, at that time the API was already resolved. So which means it is again going to be called.
Okay, cool.
So it means you have to understand. So it is more than the cache. It is saying if there is already a request which is in flight, please don't make a request.
Okay,
If
got
there
it.
is no in flight request, you have to still make a API recall.
Got it. So yeah, so one question is like the fetch part and everything. This get API will take care of it, right?
Yes, you can
And
consider get API will take care of that.
okay, and whatever we are gonna have inside this our method, that will kind of have the response from the get API call. We are going to give the response to our merging part, right?
Mhm.
Or is it gonna be like just checking the API call path and keys only?
So you have to see the syntax how we are consuming the get API with merging. So from the
Mm,
create get API with merging, you are storing that response into get API with merging.
mm.
You are chaining it further, like, so that you can get the response using then and whatnot. So you have to decide what you are going to store and what you are going to return inside create get API with merging, isn't it?
Okay, then cool.
So there are some syntactic thing you have to derive what you need to store, what need to return from this particular function.
Okay. So okay. So our checkpoints are like first we need to find the identical calls,
Mm-hmm.
and if they are identical, then we are gonna send the same response back, not making a new call.
Mm-hmm.
And there is another edge case is like if time exceeds, then the before the call, then we are gonna make a new call for the same uh, properties.
All right.
Okay, so these are our two major things, I believe. Okay, let me go with this first and check on the other stuff on the way.
Sure.
Okay, then. So let me have it here. Let me create it first. I'm just trying to console log it. Okay, so this get API path will be handled in the compile time, right?
Which is
Okay,
nothing internally. It's a fetch call.
okay, cool. So I mean, we don't need to explicitly do anything.
You don't have to do it.
Okay, okay. So first, what are the things we are gonna get? Uh, we are gonna get only the get API, and in the get API, we will be having the two calls. Okay, this is our fetch function, and inside that we will be having two arguments inside it. Okay, so in our fetch call, I believe we will be having two kind of arguments. Mm, okay. Okay, so this our get API with merging is gonna take this function, and inside that is gonna take the URL and the keys, or it's gonna take this function.
So okay, so you have to understand. So couple of things. One, what this create get API with merging is taking.
Here it's returning a function, and in the function
Is it
it's
returning a
taking
function first of all? Is it returning a function?
it is taking an argument, and from there it's getting a function.
So
I
it's
mean,
it's a function, but what exactly what that function does?
it's getting our fetch method, right?
So you get a function where you can pass the further arguments,
Hmm.
right? It's
From
okay.
there.
Let's baby step. Let's go into that.
Okay, I'm initially I'm gonna it's mostly like if I'm gonna have this get function, I'm just creating like this, and let's say if I'm already having a function, I will remove this after some point. Here it will take our get API function, and from here, so our get API with merge will be taking the URL and path, right?
Keys, yes. The
Okay.
URL and the keys, which is internal, you don't have to worry about.
Ah, okay, got it. Okay, something like this. Then in that case, okay, here it's gonna get the function, and in the return part, it's giving another function, and in the function we will be having the URL and the keys. So the keys are in okay, it's an object.
Right.
Okay. And from here only we will be checking these two to make check if it's an identical and check on that. But okay, let me first go with the identical stuff. Okay, now what I'm gonna do is to check if it's an identical. So it's like the URL might be different, but with the same keys, or URL will be same with
URL
different
can be
keys.
different, keys can be different in short.
Okay, got it. So in that case, let me create some kind of a catch store to store our attributes in a way like I'm gonna store it in object itself. So what I'm gonna do is initially I have to create a unique key to represent a
I,
combination of these
I
two.
can simplify your life by doing this. That will give a better understanding. So your get API internally is going to look like this,
Okay.
which is nothing fancy. It's just if you notice, it is
Okay.
internally
Okay.
managing your parents, passing a query param, making a get call, and doing a response. Okay. So this is
Okay.
how your internal get API is going to look like, which you should not bother about. It's just that
Okay.
for visibility purpose I have given.
All
Now,
right, then we
if you
just need to
see
pass it
any of
accordingly.
those things change, which is endpoint change or your query param change, actually the URL final URL is changing, right? So
Hmm.
it should not return from the existing call. So these are
Okay.
two different call. Make sense? Now
Okay.
keep going.
Cool. So here, let me create a unique key for this. So we have a URL and okay, let me directly create something like this so that
Can you help me with your approach, what you are trying over here?
okay. So what I'm gonna do is like first initially I'm gonna create a unique key to represent the our URL list and along with the keys. So
Hmm.
I'm gonna save the unique key in our catch store
Okay.
along with the like the time which we are initially getting this particular function. So it will contain an okay it will contain either it can be an array of objects or a key with an values of these combination like URL, object, and the time.
Mm-hmm.
So and then if it comes again the next time, I'm gonna check the key whether our unique key is same or not.
Hmm.
Also, I'm gonna check the current time and along with that unique keys time. If it's unique time and current time is same, then I'm gonna get the same call from here, or else I'm gonna make a new call and gonna save it again. Okay, that's something I need to think.
Oh, help me with one thing. What
Mm.
is the value that you're going to store in your cache store? Yeah, I
It's
understood. You added a pattern of your URL and say
mm.
support the config that you have. The
Okay, it's
object.
gonna be like in a pattern of like let's say our unique key is something this, and it will be having another arrays with our actual URL, actual keys, and the actual time.
What is time?
Uh, Time is something like right now you said in the last condition if
Oh,
it cross.
you don't know. So you are making a fetch call. Do you know how much time it is going to take?
Okay. Okay, this is not something the
It's
uh,
not hard
time
coded.
of
It's like
invoking
you're
part.
making a fetch call. You don't know how much time it will take. Scenario is, what
Okay,
if the
okay.
next time when you are executing, you are calling after some time, till that time the call is already executed, right?
Okay, it's something like when the call executes and come and the response time is gonna be this fourth condition. If after that response
So
time,
in short, you have to understand one important thing. Hear me out. If your network call is in flight, which is already in your net or already in flight, which is that is not, the response is not yet come, then only you are going to dedupe it. If you got the response, successful response or the failure response from the previous request that you made, you are still going to make a new call.
okay.
You're getting my point?
Okay, it's more like in the same time if I'm getting
Same time. That's why it is
same.
called dedupe, right? In
Okay,
the
got it.
same window, if there are already a request which is there, which is already active, and you're making a new call, this is going to dedupe. It's not a caching that we are building. So you understood the
Mm.
difference.
Okay, got it. So if it's same time, then it needs to kind of again make the call or like uh, I mean, if a call was made and while the call didn't get any response, if I get if I'm getting an input as same URL and key, so now correct. I mean, tell me like if it makes you make another call or not.
It won't make. That's what the
Okay,
second is, right? So because it
okay.
is identical, the call is in flight. So you are going to not make a new call. You are going to depend on the same call, the previous call. Now, in
Okay,
short,
okay,
understand, I made a call at 1 second. It is going to take 10 seconds in total. I made
okay,
another call at 7th second. So the first and the second call will resolve at the same time. The first will resolve at the 10 second and the second is going to resolve just at 3 second, because when it was made just after 3 second, the response we got, right?
okay. It's gonna be like um, and the second won't actually make any call. It will
Yes.
wait for the first
Yes.
one.
Yes.
Okay, got it. Then okay, then this is something not actual caching and stuff. Got it. All right, then let me make something else. Like once I get the response, or once I'm waiting for the response, it has to make like okay. Let me first make a call in here so that it will be like if I get another function. Okay, Now, once I got the data, let us see like no, it's not caching.
So if it was not caching, you will just return the data from here, right? Let's
Okay.
return that. So let's return considering you are simply trying to follow the syntax which I have given. So as per
Okay.
the syntax which I have given, this is what basically it represents at a high level, right?
Okay.
Uh,
So
hmm,
okay. Now, if it comes to the same data again.
right. If the URL and object combination is again same,
Okay.
what to do?
Okay. This is nothing. This is not it. Let me first save it. So now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna kind of take. Actually, I'm gonna. Or let me. It's kind of getting. So if I'm gonna check if the previous attributes is not equal to empty, then I have already made a call. So that call is kind of happening right now, and I'm gonna assign this in here. And let me create another like result. Let's say account like this. So once I got the result, I'm gonna say it as true. Okay. Now let's assume like initially I got a call and it will be empty, and I'm gonna make a call if it's not empty. So another thing is like in it's gonna be in the same scenario, or like for example, uh, right now I'm having a list and keyword. If a different list and keyword occurs, then separately different call will happen, right?
100%.
Okay.
Like, but again, the same method will be used. Remember, I'm not going
Okay.
to make
Good.
another method for another endpoint. It's the
Okay.
same method for all the endpoints.
Cool.
And
And
I'm going to use in real life. All the consumers are going to consume, so they can call in any order. Someone will call list, someone will call user, someone will call this and that. Multiple of them are getting triggered.
all right then. Let me make it as an array, and so here I'm gonna check a different one like mm, it's gonna be a format only, right?
Array.
I'm just trying to have a format like so with the our unique key with the actual response data.
Okay, then why it is an array?
It's going to be array of object because it might have different API calls at the same time, right?
But that can be represented by different unique ID, isn't it? Like, do you want?
Okay, okay,
So
okay.
what I meant by, if I'm making slash list 10 time, are you going to add a unique key of those slash list 10 time in your array?
No, it's going to be one time.
Unique only. If it is
Okay.
unique, Why you need array of objects?
Okay. So what I'm gonna store inside that is like if I already have the existing thing, then it's gonna be mostly like once I got the data, I will be returning the data. At the same time, if the same call occurs, then I should not make any another API call. It should wait for that one only.
Mhm.
Okay, let me create a picture like. What I was thinking like, so once a call was happening, I need to represent it like with a Boolean value, like it was still kind of loading the data.
Mhm.
So if it sees this another attribute again, and if uh, if it sees the loading indicator, then it shouldn't make any API call. But if it's the loading indicator is done, then it should make another new call, because each time if it's a data is already done, it will make a new call, right?
Mhm.
So that was I'm thinking, and the structure was once I got the data here, I will be having the unique key. Let me say like,
Okay. So if you want some hint or direction I can give, you can keep doing else. Like anytime you feel, hey, can you guide me?
okay,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, got it. I was Mm, I was thinking like, so I mean the flow I was going like, initially it will see something, and it will check whether it's already in progress or not. If there is no in progress is there, then it will make the call.
That
And
depends when you say it is in progress or not, that depends on what?
yeah, I'm gonna create some kind of an value inside that, like, let's see, like if the previous attribute of new attribute equal to, once it's done, then I'm gonna say like, it is also gonna be a, I mean, some kind of an indicator with actual result, and some flag to denote the call is once call is not happening or not. If in this particular line only the call will become true,
What
so
will
that
be your response? You said two things you are going to store. One is the
mm,
response and second is flag.
the
Flag is
flag,
okay, I understand. What is the response?
the data which is coming from the API call.
Is it data?
Okay.
Data is not yet here. I told you example, at first second you make a call and at 7 second you make a call. And at 10th second you are going to get the response. So when you made the request at 7th second, do you have data?
Okay.
Do you have data at 7 second?
No, in 10 second only I will be getting the data.
So at 7 when you execute, what are you expecting to get in response?
Okay, no will be. I mean, it will be like nothing will be there in the data, but it's kind of waiting for the previous one still.
You will get some response. What is the response you are expecting at 7 second?
Okay, it will be like the not fulfilled one, but a pending only.
What? You will get what? At
A
7 second,
promise,
you will get a
promise, right?
promise.
Okay.
Now try to think in that direction.
So basically, like if I'm having a promise call only, and this is going to make a call. I mean, let's say if it's waiting for 10 seconds, so it's everything will be in a parallel thing, right? Not going to be in a sequence order.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if it's in parallel, then normally the then call will happen. Response and here only I'm gonna get all the data and stuff. So before that, I won't be getting anything.
Yeah. So, whoever is watching, I want you to basically give a thought, the hints that I have given, direction, pause it, try to execute, and share your solutions.
Okay. So in our key, I'm gonna say it's a value like I'm gonna create it. Uh, let's say an array with initial as the response. The next one will be or indicated it has been done.
Okay, help me with one thing that thing you are trying to do.
Hmm.
So, I made a first call at 1 second.
Hmm.
Tell me the previous ALT new attribute that for first call. That
It will be the same
it's okay. Hear me out.
history. Hmm.
The line number 46 that you are trying to set, the value of the first calls. Example, it was slash list, keyword was learned with Chirag.
Hmm.
The first request which I made. Will that be ever stored in your previous ALT cache? You are trying
Okay.
to basically set until you get the response from the API call, which
Okay.
is say suppose 10 second. If
Okay.
no,
It will not be.
the next time when I make a request at 7 second, it won't see anything in the previous alt, which is your cache, and what it will do? Make
It will
another
again
call.
make another call.
You got a
Okay.
bigger glitch in your code at this moment.
Got it. Okay, so it will make another call. So initially, let me save it with indicator. Like it's kind of I need to let the other, I mean, upcoming calls know that already the same new attribute call has been made, but it's still not fulfilled yet.
Mm-hmm.
So here, let me then create a new attribute with the stuff, and I'm gonna create it in a way like once and since this if it's okay, if it's false, okay, if it's false then only it's gonna make the call. mm, okay, I mean if I console log and try it now, it will show the consoles, right?
Again, it will do, but again, hear me out. The
Hmm.
logic that you have written, if it is was false, it will again go to line number 44.
But if it's we are checking if it's okay, we are checking it's a false only. Okay, got it.
Okay, let's
No,
consider if it is false, let not go into the code. So it will never go into the 42 line.
so if it's a false, yeah, if it right now, okay, if it's a false, but we want it to go into the call only if it's a false, right?
Perfect. So if it is false, it will go into the code, which is for line number 44 will
Mm.
execute.
Yeah.
Perfect. Now, hear me out again. You executed a call at line number at timestamp 1.
Mm.
The response is supposed to come after 10 seconds.
Mm.
You executed another call at 7 seconds.
Mm. Okay.
So at the first second, you marked it as an attribute as an false.
Mm.
At 7 seconds, when I'm
Okay.
again executing,
Okay.
it
Got
is
it.
again false. It will
Got
again
it.
execute the
Yeah.
function.
Understand. Okay, understand. Okay, so here once it's gonna make itself, I'm gonna make it as a true, and the response will be we don't have any response yet. And once I got the response, then I'm gonna make it back to false. And okay, here it's just gonna be a okay here. So here from here I'm gonna directly return the response, right?
You have to hear me properly, I think. So
Okay, yeah.
one more time. So when you say your API call is already made, which is you are saying at line number 43, I am setting it to true,
Mm,
which is well. Next time it won't enter into your line number 42 at all.
yeah.
It means the request which I am making at 7 second will never get a response.
Okay.
You got the problem?
Yeah, it will not get a response.
So what we want, it will should get a response, but this response should come from the previous call that we made. The logic which you write, if it will ensure that if the request is already in flight, let's not make a next call, which is okay, but it should get a response from the first call.
Okay.
You got it?
Yeah, so it's both calls should give a response, but the second call kind of gives has to give the previous call response since they both are identical.
Exactly. Now, if
Okay.
you understand another hint which I'm trying to give, what you should store or what you are going to store in your cache is your deciding parameter. Now, think twice what you should store in your cache, how your cache should look like.
Okay.
Whoever is watching, take a pause, revisit what I just said. You have to think twice what you should store in your cache is the overall answer. If you can relate it, you will get the answer.
So in the else part, it should kind of so once I got the response will be stored with the same attribute, but the next will have to, I mean, take it from there based on its timing. I mean, like, so both will execute at same time, different time, but it will get it. Okay, it will not. Both will execute at 10 seconds only because the previous call is kind of executing in 10 seconds. Okay. Let's assume if I'm storing the cache,
Okay, let me give another small example. So
Okay.
think of, like, you went for some iron to be done at your home, right? You have given some, maybe you are given a your car for the service, right? So you got some token. Next time you're not free, someone said, hey, you come tomorrow basically, and you can basically get the car. Now next day you are not free, someone else was free, you gave the token to the other person and said, hey, can you collect my car? The person went because this was another person. But when he went to the store, he saw that, hey, the car is not yet ready. The car will be ready in 1 hour, sort of. Right? So, in this case, the person one and person two are talking about the same car. How do you get to know? Based on what is the unique between both of these guys?
The attributes.
So, the token,
Okay.
right? The token that was given by that particular guy, which was telling you all the detail in order to wait.
Mm.
So in this case, what is making you wait?
The result from the, I mean, the, yeah, result from the previous call, right?
What is making you wait? Not the result. Result is the outcome. What is making you wait?
Okay, the timing.
What is making you wait? Timing is not making you wait.
Okay.
Is one function which is making you wait. Which is that function?
Our promise part.
Is a
Is it?
promise.
Okay.
Your promise is something which is making you wait.
Okay, okay, okay. So it's like once the promise is
If
done,
you do with this your promise in cash something,
I mean, once this promise completes, then only our,
so you are thinking about what will happen after the result. I'm saying forget about what will happen after the result. Focus on if there are a API call which is already made that will execute sometime in future. You don't worry. I'm saying it will never ever complete. The next time I'm making another call, I should get the same promise. How can you make it happen? If I point to the same promise, then whenever that promise resolve, first and second both will resolve. Don't you think?
okay,
So why are you worrying about the result? Result is the last thing. Forget about result will come. Can you
okay,
concentrate on one thing? How do I attach my request, upcoming request to the same thing? That's all. If you can, your life is sorted.
okay. So it's more like, I mean, it's not gonna be in hands of any of these set of codes. It's more, it's like I need to give the kind of a reference of this same promise to our upcoming attributes.
Now
Okay.
think in that direction.
I think I got stuck in the like this part, Chirag, like the passing, like storing the reference of the promise. Like this will be like calling the promises, but storing it
Calling
something.
is the last thing. Forget about calling.
Yeah, okay, got it. I think I got stuck
How
there.
do you get a reference to a promise? Tell me. In your try, if I want, hey, give me the reference of your promise. How you can get that?
Like storing in a variable and passing them.
Store it. What you are going to
Okay.
store?
Like mm, so we want like let's assume like but this will be, I don't think so, right?
It's a promise reference, right?
Mm.
Can you use store this promise reference in your previous attribute, which is cache? I
Okay,
think
with the
better to
same.
name it cache so that it looks easy and you are able to understand what you are trying to do.
Okay, okay. It's more like cache itself.
Uh, it's a cache, dedupe cache, whatever it is. Like,
Okay, Uh,
right? So now you need to update the promise reference into your promise cache. How do you update it?
okay, I can take this reference and update in there, and also I have
At
to
where you can, at what line you can do that?
once I have this unique keys. This is not going to be the part like. Okay, let me give me a minute. It's already exists. No, I don't think so.
So promise are synchronous or asynchronous?
Asynchronous.
Asynchronous. So the one which you like at right number 43, at line number 53, will it be executed by then or it is not yet executed?
It will not be.
If not, then you have the promise reference. Use it, man.
Okay, in here itself you're saying.
Oh, why not? The next line itself, you have the promise reference which is at line number 51. Just
Okay,
use it
okay,
and
got
move
it.
it.
Okay, okay. So since okay, it will wait for some time, and we are gonna got it. Okay, so since we already now we have the reference, and I will check if there is a value if it's already exist. Now back to like first, it will come for first time, and it will save the attributes. I mean, if there is no attributes, then I'm creating a new one here. If there is nothing in there, then I'm just gonna leave it empty or no. Okay, so now so as per the flow, when the call comes, it will initially check if there is already exist in there.
If
If
it already
this
exists, then
doesn't
go and
exist,
execute it.
yeah,
If does not
okay.
exist, then basically create a reference and put it in the cache. And if it exists, then what is the else part?
If
Make it set it to
already
null.
no, if it already, I mean, if it doesn't exist, then I'm creating there. If it already exists, then I should wait for the this promise to get resolved.
Okay.
Like,
It's a promise or not? So what you're storing in new attribute, is it a promise or not?
yeah, it's the value is a promise.
And
So
ultimately, what you need to return? What you need to return ultimately?
again, I need to wait for this part. I mean,
What you need to return?
the
What
data which I got from there.
are you returning a data? Get API with merging, is that expecting a data?
Okay, okay, it's.
Scroll down on the left. What it is expecting? What is the return of get API with merging?
Oh, it's again a promise.
So if you
Okay,
already have a promise, what you need to do?
I have to return the same stuff.
Okay, a couple of questions over here. One, is your if part returning a promise?
No, it's kind of resolving the. I mean, it's waiting for the data, and once the data comes, it's returning the data.
Is it returning a promise? No, then how can we return a promise?
Okay, okay. If but okay. Here we don't need to do anything in the value things. I store the reference and I have to return the same is the same reference part.
Help me with one more thing.
Okay, I think I got stuck in it pretty much twisted, I guess. So yeah, please.
Help me with one more thing. Now consider I make a API call. A promise went.
Hmm.
It resolved also. I am making
Hmm.
another API call where the promise were already resolved. Will you
Hmm.
have something in the cache or you won't have something in the cache?
Yeah, I will be right now having something in the cache.
Even it is resolved.
Hmm. Yeah.
Which you don't want. You don't want to return. You want to execute a fresh call if the promise were already resolved, isn't it? The last
Okay.
condition that you have,
Hmm.
the last test case that you have, is the promise is already. You don't want the cached result,
Okay, we don't want to send the reference. We have to uh, again make a new call with the with the same attributes, right?
right?
Okay. With okay.
But for that, you should know if it is already resolved, not resolved, what happened, isn't it? On what basis you are going to make a call or decide
If it's resolved or not already. I mean, already the call has been done or not
how
based
you
on that.
will make a decision, how the call have been made, or did you got the response or not? If the previous promise was resolved earlier,
Hmm.
then you have to again do the if condition.
Okay. Okay. The same part of code.
Yeah, but that
Okay.
will depend on the condition. From where you will get that condition data is a question.
Okay. Initially, I got the response, and the reference has been stored. And in the else case, like if there is no response in there, then I have to make a fresh calls in here.
Okay, maybe a last 1 minute.
Okay. Okay. I mean, it will be again making a call, but based on a condition like. Give me a minute. Like, if there is no thing exists, then it will save. I mean, it will save in our cache and wait for it. If it already is there, then it's gonna take the. I mean, it's gonna return. I mean, it's gonna wait for this only. But we already have the reference of this promise, right? I guess.
Exactly.
Is it like I'm just gonna return the reference of that promise, but uh,
Okay, do a control Z where you are.
okay, I guess here.
Do a control Z one more. Okay. So cool. So I think we are done. I just wanted to give a hint to everyone who's actually viewing this. Think about one thing. I am being focusing on one hint from the starting. How your data or your cache is going to look like. If you focus on that, you have the outcome. Right now, what you're storing in your cache is just the promise reference. With that reference, can you derive if that promise was resolved or not? What happened to that? If not, then you have to store something else in your cache apart from your reference. If you understand that, then you have a solution for that because you have things to check and conditions to check for the upcoming calls or upcoming requests that you are going to make. So cool. So I'm done with the question. Probably I want everyone who is watching to share your feedback, to share your solutions in the comment, which is very helpful, and share if you have to implement this, how you are going to do that. Now, before I share your feedback, Harish, I just wanted to know how was your experience?
It was like I mean I had a good time, Chirag. Like it was like we will be working on a lot of things day to day, but the 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 core part sometimes it's kind of different in a different time. Like as for this problem, it was very. I mean, I would say like I was pretty nervous from the start. But I was thinking in a different way, but I think I spent too much time in a wrong direction thinking about the solution. Like it has to be like this, but I think it's completely different. I agree on that part. But yeah, it was like exactly a mind thinking. We need to be, I guess, cool and think in a proper way first to understand the problem, I would say.
One feedback that I wanted to give to everyone, guys, it is very important to break your big problem into the
Sure.
small problem statement, uh, which is very very important. So if you break your bigger problem in a small chunk and keep on making progress, eventually you will see a great outcome. So overall, Harish, if I see, I understand you have understanding of promises and whatnot. Again, so when you start thinking, you start relating with, hey, this is something that I know or probably have done. But you have to hear the problem statement, you have to hear the hints which are given to by the interviewer, right? Those small small conditions which are given, you have to understand, hey, what could be the reason around these different situations which are given. So I
Okay.
think you took some time in order to understand all the cases that was given. That is one which I see. Second, the many hints which I was trying to give you from the starting, you realized it after, say, suppose 20-25 minutes or sort of, which probably backfired, and oh, I did not do this, and let me trade back to the from zero, right? I think those are small small things. Rest everything is good. Keep making progress. And yes, guys, share your feedback and do like, share, subscribe. And if you wanted to get on the other side of the screen and you wanted to give an interview, let me know in the comment. I will be happy to basically host you. So with that, thanks a lot. See you again with the next episode and the interesting things.